The sport of mixed martial arts can be brutal and extremely violent, but surprisingly has the least amount of serious injuries among combat sports. MMA has been regulated in some states since the late 90s and only has 4 recorded deaths in 2 decades. Since MMA has become sanctioned, there have been less reported deaths than in boxing, football, and even cheerleading. This is a list of fighters who have died during sanctioned MMA fights.
Tyrone Mims.
It was an exciting night for Tyrone Mims. His first sanctioned mixed martial arts fight. But this fight would be his last.
Tyrone Mims died following an amateur fight in 2012. Mims said he was fine and that he was just tired, but after being helped to the locker room, he lost consciousness. EMS were unable to revive the fallen fighter, and Mims was pronounced dead at 9:27 that night. The autopsy showed no evidence of a concussion or brain trauma, nor drugs or alcohol. Coroner Ray Wooten speculated that Mims might have had an irregular heart because of some electrical dysfunction. There is just nothing here that explains his death.
My moms and them now here. You know, they out here supporting me. Yeah.
To Guylaine.
Congolese fighter To Guylaine took on Karen Davies at a South African event in 2014. Guylaine lost the fight after being mounted and TKO'd during the 3rd round.
The referee's going to step in, and he does. Great performance.
According to reports, Butu was stabilized on site and taken to the hospital, but died 6 days later due to complications from swelling in the brain. Butu had a total of 2 professional MMA fights, losing both of them by TKO.
Michael Kirkham.
Michael Kirkham had his first professional MMA fight at a local show in South Carolina. Kirkham was knocked out only 41 seconds into the match and never regained consciousness. Doctors said he suffered from a subarachnoid hemorrhage. Kirkham was knocked out in his previous amateur fight 2 months earlier, which led many to believe he suffered from second impact syndrome. Second impact syndrome, or SIS, is when someone suffers a concussion before an earlier concussion has had time to subside, causing swelling in the brain and is almost always fatal.
When his brain swelled, it was as if he had a sponge that absorbed large amounts of fluid and made its size much larger than it normally would. And of course, being confined in the hard skull, it had no place to go but to put pressure on the walls of the skull and on itself.
Kirkham died 2 days after the fight.
Vasquez.
Hello, mixed martial arts fans, and welcome once again to Renegades, the toughest fighting allowed by law in the state of Texas. In the featherweight division, we have Vasquez from Revolution Dojo in Houston putting it on the line against Vince the Bullet Lombardi from San Antonio's Power Team.
Vasquez was the first death to occur in a sanctioned MMA event. Vasquez was knocked out in the 3rd round and suffered a subdural hemorrhage. He slipped into a coma and was pronounced dead on November 30th, 2007. Sports medicine specialist Dr. Johnny Benjamin said, "This type of injury is common in the regular world, but in combat sports, this injury is very, very rare."
This is raw, this is real, this is Renegades. I'm Reverend Bart, I'll see you at ringside.
These fatalities all occurred during sanctioned events, but there have been at least 8 deaths confirmed from unsanctioned events. An unsanctioned event is when there is no regulatory involvement requiring things such as pre- and post-fight medical exams, blood work, and other medical tests, all designed to help keep fighters safe. The first and most known death in unsanctioned MMA was a fighter named Douglas Dej. During an MMA event in Kiev, Dej was mounted and took a flurry of punches before submitting to his opponent. Dej stood up after the fight was stopped, but collapsed. Dej died 2 days later due to severe brain injuries. It is reported he had a pre-existing condition and teammates had seen him black out during training sessions. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.